Iraq's Prime Minister has called off a meeting with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Jeddah. The move comes after US and Saudi attacks on a pro-Iran-backed groups in Iraq. The Iraqi president has condemned the violation of Iraq's sovereignty, but the US President Donald Trump has told Fox News that the attacks were coordinated with the government in Baghdad. The militants, meanwhile, are warning US and Saudi forces will pay a price. For more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs commentator, Angela Diffley. Angela, great to see you. What do we know about this latest development?
I think, it is to be expected that the Iraqi Prime Minister, Ali al-Saudi, would cancel this meeting. That is to be expected. He has said it is a violation of Iraqi sovereignty. That, too, to be expected. He has also said that he rejects the idea of attacks on other countries being perpetrated from Iraqi soil. He very recently visited Washington. He gets on well with Donald Trump, and he knows very well that Washington, in return for its aid to Iraq, would like him to do his utmost to stop militias backed by Iran from operating within Iraq. That is not as straightforward as that, but it is certainly what he is being asked to do by Washington. It is interesting to note, so we've had Saudi Arabia doing this joint attack with the US on the Iraqi militants. We have also had recently retaliation attacks from Bahrain, from Kuwait. Increasingly, this thing is being expanded, and increasingly countries in this area are worried about Iran's actions. That is something that is very clear from what's going on here. So it may prove that it is something of a strategic mistake. Some military observers are questioning Iran's constant efforts to embroil other countries in this war by attacking US bases, often in those countries. It might prove to be a strategic mistake because increasingly all of those countries are finding themselves more and more aligned with the strategies of the US.
It's a complicated one because Saudi Arabia has also tried to make a rapprochement with Iran by dispatching the foreign minister for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's funeral. So we'll see what happens on that front. Yesterday, of course, we had the Israeli Prime Minister who was in Washington to attend Lindsey Graham's funeral. He met with the US President Donald Trump at the White House, but there were no cameras, no Q&A with journalists. Well, what do you think went on there?
Yeah, it's very clear that Donald Trump has the upper hand in this relationship, and they both, just in terms of optics, do not have the same wishes either. Donald Trump does not wish to be seen to be too friendly with Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel is at an historically low point in its popularity in the United States, especially with the Democrats, but increasingly with Republicans. The Netanyahu government is not well liked. That said, for Netanyahu, the opposite is true. He apparently asked on numerous occasions for this meeting. It's the first time that the two have met since just before the war began on the 28th of February. I think they met on the 11th of February, and reportedly that was when Trump was convinced by Netanyahu that this was a good move. They haven't met since, and Netanyahu has pushed for this meeting. Eventually it was arranged on the sidelines of the Lindsey Graham funeral yesterday. For Netanyahu, facing elections in October, he cannot be seen to have a disastrous relationship with Donald Trump. It's very difficult to know, actually what that relationship is like, because the two of them, in a sense, either sink or rise together. So I doubt if it's as bad as some people suggest it might be. That said, Trump has two options, basically. Either he waits and hopes that the counter-blockade will have a really significant effect on Iran. That looks like it's going to be a very long wait.
Oil prices going up and hurting him in the midterms.
Exactly, in midterms coming up. Or he escalates massively. That is what Netanyahu would like. He wants a decisive end to this. It's possible Netanyahu tried to persuade him that after the midterms, they should launch some decisive operation which would finish this thing once and for all, or at least that the US might greenlight a unilateral operation from Israel. We don't even know if Netanyahu would still be in power.
That's what I was just going to say. We'll see what happens in October. And
there
we'll
are so many ifs, buts.
And we'll see what happens with the midterms as well. Angela, thank you very much for that.